Hi, welcome to another fantastic episode of Mikey's Madness. Today we are playing Evil Dead, the video game, the most originally titled video game based on the Evil Dead franchise. Today we are playing the PlayStation 5 version. This is also available on pretty much all PlayStation, Microsoft consoles, and then Windows, and beside that, I don't know. This also features crossplay. This is an asymmetrical multiplayer game. There are single player missions. Even though the game was delayed to add them, they're fairly half-assed. Let me just put it right out there for you. If you don't like patches, if you don't like signing on to a server, if you don't like being online only, this is not the game for you unless they somehow patch it, but then your disc would still be worthless if the server breaks down. So the only way I can see this game being preserved is if you somehow preserve it through the wonderful PC community that seems to keep everything alive. So bravo to whoever decides to do this, because I think it's ridiculous that there are AI modes and you have to still sign on to a server to play those, even though you're not playing with other people, you're using the same map. But those are most of my negative issues, beside not being able to vault over things that you should be able to vault from. Also, not a jump button, and I feel like the targeting to the deadites are a little wonky. Also, I feel like the sound design could be a little bit better. When I say sound design, I mean the directional 3D audio, I feel like is off. At least with the pair of headsets. At least with the pair of headphones I'm using. Mileage may vary. If you're familiar with this channel, I will only talk about this game for a little bit and then ramble on about God knows what. So this is based on my favorite franchise of all time. Well, one of my favorite franchises of all time, which is the Evil Dead franchise. If I had to pick one, if you haven't watched my channel, I'd probably say Ghostbusters. Then I don't even know what comes after that, to be honest with you. Ghostbusters is hand down the movie that I've probably seen the most in my life. Also, if you're curious, if I haven't shared it yet, I did see Ghostbusters Afterlife, not on Thursday, but the official opening Friday, and when it came out, absolutely adored it. If you consider yourself a fan, even if you might have negative reactions, I would certainly go to check it out if you really enjoyed the first movie or the first two movies. To be honest with you, Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 are almost on even level for me. I love them both almost the same. Ghostbusters 1 just slightly more, just because I've had more time with it. Ghostbusters 2 has nostalgic feels, because that's the one that I grew up with the cartoon series, and then it was one of the few times my dad took me to the movie theater and we had a relatively good time. So there's that. So yeah, so Evil Dead, ironically, what got me into Evil Dead was, at the time, THQ, not THQ Nordic. It's probably a completely different atmosphere. At the time, during the PlayStation 1, and I believe the Dreamcast was out at the time, because I got the Dreamcast version. But THQ tended to make a lot of licensed games. If you ever go to a bargain bin, almost every Nickelodeon licensed game, it's made by THQ. But somehow they grabbed up the Evil Dead license, and it was a shitty survival horror game. But I remember playing it, and I'm there's something oddly familiar about this. I didn't know anything about Evil Dead at the time, but I don't know, it was jiving with me like a man that has a chainsaw with a hand. I mean, how could you go wrong? So and then hearing how Evil Dead is kind of shaped video game culture. Most of the things that Duke Nukem says is a mixture of Evil Dead and They Live. The things that God, I can't even think. I can't even think of the wrestler's name. It's like Roddy Piper or something. Whatever the dude that says I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum, which is, I guess it seemed cool at the time. I don't know how cool it is now. When I said it, I didn't feel very cool, but that's neither here nor there. So I ended up seeing screenshots, and I was like, wait a minute, this looks oddly familiar. So Army of Darkness, which is technically Evil Dead 3, and it has a quick recap played on cable non-stop. So I used to see Army of Darkness quite often and didn't know it was the third movie in a franchise. So once they announced that game, I was like, holy shit. And I read about it and realized Army of Darkness was related, and I went back and rewatched Evil Dead 1, which I actually really didn't like when I first saw it. I know it's unpopular to say it, but when I first saw the first Evil Dead movie for the first time, I thought it was a garbage film. It kind of made me sick to my stomach a little bit because the special effects were kind of weird, like how they were mixing blood and milk. I don't know why that mixture bugged me at the time. Now that I'm older, I'm like numb, and my heart has turned into a black piece of like some like strange like mineral that hasn't been discovered yet, that's just like pure, like just the negative emotions just compressed into this little rock that is somehow able to collapse into itself and circulate blood throughout my body. But anyway, yeah, so I watched Evil Dead 2, adored it, fell in love with it the first time I watched it. Evil Dead 1 had to grow on me a little bit, but I think what's important to keep in mind is if I didn't see those films, I don't think my interest in filmmaking would have grown. And whatever you think about the quality of this channel, if you do enjoy the channel, like, you can give credit to Evil Dead, because that's essentially, I was like, these 21-year-olds went around to like people's doors and knocked on them and like made a movie, and it became successful to the point that they're still making merchandise to it to these days. That was so inspirational to me. So in a way, like, I was really into movies and filmmaking, so I wish I would have kept the footage. I did upload it to YouTube at one point. I think at the time the internet wasn't ready for it. I don't think it ever is, but I can't find the disc that has the videos, but I shared all my little small videos I made when I was in high school on my channel at one point, and I got embarrassed about it and erased them, and now I can't find the disc, and I'd have to upload it. I have the raw files, but I would have to re-edit them, and not only that, they're on analog film, which would be a nightmare, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, if I didn't have the, if you're seeing this, by the way, I'm playing the missions mode. This is how you unlock additional characters and tape recordings that kind of explain why, like, different Ash, because you can be different classes of Ash and stuff like that. So it's explaining why these characters are in the same timeline as once. It's like Evil Dead Multiverse Edition. So when you play the single player missions, you're basically like unlocking more characters. There's like a leader. It's so hard to explain. I haven't played the demon mode yet, so I don't do reviews that much. If I did a review, there's probably less than 10 out of like hundreds of videos. So this is just an impression video. I can't even, if I even were to score it, I have not played the demon mode for some reason. It doesn't interest me. I just like screwing around right now with the single player mode and even the single player survivor mode. I'm trying to get better so when I play as a team, I don't completely disappoint my team, but I'm sure you probably get better when you play with real people. Like, it's much easier to win matches with real people. Now, a gripe with the single player missions, which kind of loosely like replay parts in the Evil Dead trilogy. I hope that they do more. But one thing I would really like to appreciate, not because of difficulty necessarily, but just out of convenience. Not everybody has time to like sit down and put a shit ton of time in a game. And I know you can look back in the day when you couldn't save and you had to leave school and leave your console on if you didn't have a PC, and like you'd come home and your console was still on and your game was still on pause, because once you turn your console off, it would be left. That's how it would be lost forever. That's how the single player missions work here. Basically, like, if you turn it off, you have to start all over again. If you die, you have to start all over again. So it'd be nice in between these nicely rendered or painted over cutscenes. I don't know how they did it. I really like the look of their little Photoshop art style, to be honest with you. So now I'm gonna play as the girl from Ash vs. Evil Dead. She's kind of like a female Ash. You'll see the different squads. I couldn't remember it offhand of who's who, so now when I look at it, I can tell you the difference. So the top is leader, and I can't read it because the screen's so strong. So there's like a leader that's kind of good at everything. There's like a melee type of person, which is the second row, and then the second to last row are like ranged weapons, and then the last row are like healing characters. Like right now I only have Ash and his sister unlocked. In order to get Pablo, which is the other character, I have to finish those missions. I'm still extraordinarily rusty at this game and kind of figuring things out, but I don't really like asymmetrical multiplayer games or these types of games. I did not like Dead by Daylight. I thought Friday the 13th could be enjoyable at times just because it captured the vibe of the movies, and I think that's what keeps me going, because it's a franchise that I really, really like. I think that's what keeps me interested. Like Dead by Daylight had like was it Dead by Daylight? No, I think it was Dying Light. Dead by Daylight. There's so many games with dead and light and stuff in it. I'm like throwing myself off. Whatever the asymmetrical game is that they worked on with this, and then there's the Predator game, which I believe the studio who's working on the new Ghostbusters game, which was extraordinarily disappointing when I heard that's going to be an asymmetrical game as well. But my hope is since I like the Evil Dead franchise so much, I can look over this game's flaws and enjoy a genre I don't typically like, and I'm hoping for the same thing with the Ghostbusters game. That being said, I hate the art style of the Ghostbusters game, unlike this one, which I think is very true and accurate, to the point they even got all the voice actors from their various roles, to my understanding. Now, I couldn't tell you if like some of the lesser known characters are really voiced by like their respected actors, because I don't even know what other movies those actors would be in. I don't know what they sound like when they're older, but Ash vs. Evil Dead is fairly new, and I know that's what's her name, Dana DiLorenzo or something like that, like the one that plays Kelly Maxwell, which is an easy pick because it matches my last name, and everybody else usually picks a different form of Ash, so you don't want like 3 Ashes, and or you don't want 4 Ashes running around and look strange. We're not trying to do like a Marvel thing here, but yeah, so she's pretty good. And one good thing about the voices too, this is a weird criticism I would like to share, is that even though they're voiced by their respective actors, they don't reuse the same voice clips over and over again, which a lot of these types of games do. The the 2009 Ghostbusters game, the last, what would you say, good one before the one based on the 2016 one came out, which was like a very, very, very slow Ghostbuster themed version of Robotron 2084, I believe is the date, but it's slow, so it's not fun. It just feels slow. You walk slow. Like, there was a game similar in style that was based on the comic books, that came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation. Obviously, it was also on PC, and it was called Ghostbusters Sanctum of Slime or something like that. And that one was fast, and despite it being not the best game in the world, and it certainly wasn't reviewed decently. Either was the 2009. It was it kind of got average reviews. It was between 7 and 8. And to be fair with you, like, if the Ghostbusters game, although I love it and I finished it 2 times, it's Ghostbusters, just like this is Evil Dead. So keep that in mind if I'm ever making suggestions to you. Like, if I like the license, I'm probably on some sort of subconscious level going to give it leeway. I'm going to be forgiving with it. Like, I will go back occasionally and play the shitty, like, NES, like, Ghostbusters games and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, because I adore those things. But if it was based on any other license, like if this was based on the Scream franchise, I probably wouldn't give it 2 looks. Like the Ghostbusters game, like I hate that it's an asymmetrical game. There's so much potential with that franchise, and this one too. I feel like this could make an amazing linear, story-driven game, and it's just asymmetrical horror, which is fun. It catches the zaniness, but you know, with Ghostbusters, I kind of, especially if you grew up watching the real Ghostbusters and Extreme Ghostbusters, and if you didn't, I believe Ghostbusters has its own channel. I don't know what's available to you in your area that you're from, but there should be an official Ghostbusters channel, and they've been slowly trickling out episodes of the real Ghostbusters and the sequel series Extreme Ghostbusters, which is kind of like an alternative take on Ghostbusters Afterlife, if you will, because it takes place, like, I guess in the late 90s, early 2000s, versus where Ghostbusters Afterlife, I can't remember the exact date because it was delayed. I'm trying to remember what the date was in the film. It was either like 2019 or between 2019 and like 2021. I don't even think it got to 2022, and 21 seems a little bit high. Like, but I remember looking at all the dates. Like, it was so great to see that in the theater. Like, that was the one movie, like, I once they let us go back into the theaters, like, I was able to overcome my anxiety of the pandemic just to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like, it was just so surreal, and I didn't really enjoy it the first time I watched it because, and don't worry, I won't spoil anything or tell you anything about the plot, but I was so worried about it, about them ruining it. I didn't really get to enjoy it until it came out on video and I watched it at home, and now I love it. Like, I casually watch it. I've probably seen it 4 times. Now, it's not at the level of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, and please understand that Ghostbusters Afterlife is a spin-off. When you're going to it, it does not have the same beats. If you ever watch Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, I'm not going to reveal the plot. Don't worry about spoilers. I'm just going to tell you the structure of a regular Ghostbusters film. Like, a regular Ghostbusters film is, it starts out with something like some sort of paranormal phenomenon. Then the music gets slow, and then then it speeds up and it plays the Ghostbusters theme song. Then it shows you where the Ghostbusters currently are, and they're usually in a bad situation. And then they like bust their first ghost, montage, they become successful. All during this time, like the main like antagonist is getting stronger or doing whatever they need to do to succeed. Things start going wrong. There's usually another like ghost a ghost montage of like the city going to hell, and then there's the final battle, and then end credits. Like, and before usually there's like a ghost montage, then the Ghostbusters have to get out of whatever bad situation they're currently in, and then they finally fight the antagonist. And then instead of like actually having story after, like it kind of shows the aftermath during a credits montage. That is like the classic Ghostbusters 1 and 2 formula. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it with this formula written down, and it will hit those notes beat by beat. Afterlife does not follow that structure. I do not believe that Afterlife's Ghostbusters 3, and if they make another Ghostbusters in a Ghostbuster formula, I hope instead of calling it Ghostbusters 4 or some other weird title, because we live in the day and age where we don't number our movies anymore for the most part, or we just call it the same fucking movie or put the in front of it, so naturally it's different. But I would hope they would call if they ever make it, because they already announced that since Ghostbusters Afterlife was such a sequel. I'm talking about Ghostbusters All Evil Dead Game Slaying. It's my fucking channel, my rules. But anyway, yeah, so they've announced that they'll be making more movies, which kind of makes me nervous. And this game has surprisingly done really well, so I hope they do more with this franchise. You know, they announced that they're making another Evil Dead game. Unfortunately, it does not take place in this universe. I was hoping, even if Bruce Campbell was retired, they'd have the Ghost Beaters, which is a hilarious name, and it is supposed to be funny. If you haven't watched Ash vs. Evil Dead, it is Evil Dead 4, but like the 8-hour long Evil Dead 4 season you always wanted. Like, and it's 3 seasons, and gosh, how the series ended would have made a perfect video game. I would like to see more than the asymmetrical shooter explored with some of these licenses. The Ghostbusters one, I'm also excited about. I don't know how you say it, like the husband and wife team from, what is it? It's like Funhouse or something. I don't know. It's like that video game channel by Rooster Teeth, but I don't necessarily watch their live streams, but I always think like the compilation clips of the staff playing together are fucking hilarious, and they do make 80s jokes all the time. So I'm hoping that transfers over to the writing, because the two of the funniest people on that show, especially the lady, I think her name's Elise. She's fucking hilarious. She always, like, she's usually the one saying the most funniest things on those compilations. So they're working on the story. So I think whatever story an asymmetrical shooter might have, asymmetrical multiplayer shooter. They also said they're adding a single player game. Also, somehow Ray's Occult is now directly beside the Ghostbuster station. If you're not familiar with that, Ray's Occult is Ray's bookstore in Ghostbusters 2 that was nowhere near the... Sorry, my mic almost just dropped, and not because I said something cool, but I'm talking with my hands really close to the mic, even though nobody's here. But yeah, like, it was never next door to the Ghostbusters station. But this game's pretty fun. I don't have much else to say for it besides wanting checkpoints. There's a season pass. It's $30. I'm curious what it brings. If it brings a lot, even though it's like a multiplayer temporary game or whatever, maybe they'll patch it and I'll just leave it on my hard drive till it dies. I don't know. But hopefully they fix that. But in the meantime, like, I'm not gonna live for. I'm getting at the point where I just don't fucking care. Like, trying to like play new games and not follow current trends is becoming increasingly difficult and a pain in the ass to get around it. So I either need to make a choice to be happy with everything that I have now and quit playing new games, or have to deal with it. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming out that I'm looking forward to. Ironically, a lot of the games I'm looking forward to are like retro based. Like, I can't wait till those Ninja Turtle games come out. Like the new one, I think it's called Shredder's Revenge, and I'm super excited about the Konami one. And oddly enough, the games I want to play the most on the Konami one, the Konami collection of the Ninja Turtles, I should have been more specific. Use your words, Michael. But oh, while this is going on, I think about it. If you haven't discovered it or figured it out, you first have to find 3 pages of the Necronomicon. Then you gotta go into you gotta get the dagger, and you gotta go to the area, and then you use the dagger with a beam and fight the old ones. None of this footage will show, but I'm sure if you're watching my channel, you probably already watched 15 other people that are actually good at this game, as well as making YouTube videos and talking, and you've probably already seen it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna die both times, but I was like, well, they're getting a video from me, so whatever, fuck it, I'll just die, and they'll just tell me how much I suck or whatever. But my biggest pet peeve about the Ghostbusters game is that it looks like Fortnite. And no offense to anybody who enjoys Fortnite, I'm not gonna shit on anybody for enjoying a game, even if it's not my cup of tea. Like, I like a lot of bizarre games, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've bought a few Atelier games just because I like the little watercolor art style, and those games are so, like, sickeningly cute. Like I like feel like I need to, like, how many times is he gonna use, like, those games are so sickeningly cute. Like, I feel like I need to regulate, like, my blood sugar just because the fucking shit is just so sickeningly sweet. But I really love, like, watercolor art style. Like, whatever they do in those games, it just looks really good to me. Another game that's super popular, I think, has some of the best cell shading, especially at higher resolutions, closer to 4K, is was it the Genshin Impact game? It's an MMO. Like, that has some of the best cell shading I've ever seen. I think my favorite cell shading, but I'm all over the place. Like I said, I pre-warned you I wouldn't talk about this game the whole time. I still think Dragon Ball FighterZ has the best cell shading animation, and I really didn't notice it until it still looked good during the cutscenes, because I'm like, they can kind of fake this on a 2D plan, but when they actually went 2D plane, not plan, use your words again. But anyway, like, when I said use my words, I completely lost my train of thought. So, but anyway, I don't like the Ghostbusters game art style because it looks like Fortnite, which doesn't appeal to me because it looks like a graphics engine based on the aesthetic of Nerf guns. Like, so yeah, it looks like great value Pixar to me. And sorry if you love Fortnite. Even watching people play Fortnite like, it's just too much visual information with, like, all that stuff being built up. But maybe that's just me, because I was playing Metal Slug earlier today, not Evil Dead, because of course I recorded this video before and I didn't record anything in Metal Slug. You're like, I wanted to watch Metal Slug. Well, too bad, it's my channel. I was playing it and I was just realized, am I getting older, or has this visual noise always bothered me of all these things going out on the same time and I've just ignored it? But I don't know. If you like Evil Dead, I would definitely give this game a shot, even if you don't like the asymmetrical type of multiplayer game. There are single player things to do, and you can play against AI bots. You just have to deal with the fact that you have to sign on and have an internet connection in order to play this game unless they patch it. That's just what you have to. If you can't accept that, then avoid this game at all costs. But I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's taken so long to make a proper video. I hope this was worth it. I am a bit rusty, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Hope you're all doing well, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe! Thanks for watching!